Hey, Jesse here. I am going to give a brief rundown of the modular synth I use on stage, and I used a lot for our recent record, Bloom and Recede. Let's dig in and nerd out. Modular synth is built up of modules. Like, here's a couple that are not in a rack, and they use a common sizing, voltage, and ribbon connection system to connect to the power supply that makes it so anybody can build modules that will work together. So I have modules from a bunch of different manufacturers in here suited to my needs, but you can make all kinds of different things, which is a really exciting part about modular synths. So I'll just try to quickly run through what I have in here. I have this module, poly in, poly 2, for what's called MIDI to CV conversion. So that is talking, the computer sending information here, and that being converted into voltages, which are sent out here, and that's to do things like set the pitches of the oscillators to create notes, or trigger the envelope to shape notes, or for some patches I have a foot controller set up that will actually change the position or the voltage that goes to this filter, or to change the decay of this synth. So you can do a variety of things. It also lets me run all 4 voices that are in this system. This Dover voice, this noise engineering BIA voice, this noise engineering Manus voice, and the Minotaur, all really with this one box. First thing that start with is noise generation, and that's oscillator. That's a Dover oscillator here. I've got a square wave and a triangle wave patched, so that is a square wave. This is a triangle wave. It's a little bit more smooth. With a square wave, you also have what's called pulse width modification. So you can, I have an LFO patched to the pulse width, so you can get some nice modulation just on the square wave by itself. You also have an extra CV control, which I have patched to the same LFO for frequency modulation, which can get into some cool stuff, some kind of real classic synth sounds of just changing CV to the oscillator. That goes into a tuner, so I can check the tuning on the fly. It routes into the VCA, which I have a quad VCA here, so I can mix together the square wave, the triangle wave. Third one is for a noise, which this is a noise module, so that noise here, which is really nice for sweeps or to add percussiveness to a sound. No. So if we got something going like, and then start to add in some noise on that. You can hear how that adds a really percussive bit at the beginning, which could be really nice. Fourth VCA in the quad is used for velocity information, so I also get velocity from the poly end. So my different arpeggios, sometimes I built into the programming just slight velocity changes so that you can get just a little bit more dynamic sound. So that's everything goes in order into the last VCA, and that gives me velocity control. Then everything is routed into the filter, which a filter is just that sound that everybody loves. a nice resonated filter, has this cool sound. There's also a distortion built in here, so you can drive it a little bit. And that gets mixed together here in this mixer. And then it goes into my small effects chain, which is a chorus based on a Juno 106, really classic keyboard that I also use in the studio. But this is just the chorus, which is really great for stereo widening. So it's all mono up to here, and then the 106 splits it into stereo. So here's just a mono square wave. And then here's with the chorus. So you can hear how much width that gives it, really, really nice sound. And then that all goes into this Strymon magneto, which is used for verb and delay. It's based on a tape head delay, which it's all digitally done here, but you can change the speed, do a lot of other things that I would normally do with something like my tube tape echo in the studio. And then the spring circuit is a really nice emulation of spring, but kind of without all the noise that typically comes with a spring reverb. This BIA is its own separate synth that gets mixed together here before the effects section. It has kind of a more percussive sound, so I like to use it especially for that side of things. So I use that to contrast the more classic East Coast sound of the Dofer Oscillator. So that all of that system makes up the typical modular synth portion. It mixed down to a stereo line. There's also a bass portion that starts with the Moog Minotaur, which is just real classic, based on the Taurus pedal from back in the late 70s and 80s. And then I also use this Manus, also from Noise Engineering, similar to the BIA, this kind of extra percussive sound, and it gets kind of harsh and digital in a cool way. So. So I just use that often to contrast the Minotaur or to add in. And there's a few other kind of utility modules, some mults, just so I have pretty limited space, so I'm really maximizing the LFOs and envelopes to send to multiple places. This is my primary VCA envelope. This envelope usually goes to the filter, so if it can be used as a filter or an LFO. This LFO is routed to a bunch of different things. We already saw the changing the CV of the oscillator. It's also the same thing, the pulse width. And I have attenuverters in between that to control how much of that LFO goes to various sources. And yeah, there's some mults just to send some different things to other places. That's the basic overview. You can kind of do, one more module. This module before the oscillator is a Slew module, which also known as glide on some other synths or portamento. I'm using it on the oscillator. You can use it on any kind of voltage, but that gives that sort of bending sound. Like, one thing I really like to do is I have separate control over that going to both the BIA and the Dofer. So if I'm running both of them in tandem, like, I might start to tweak the glide of just one. It's also got a nice setting that you can have the notes bend both up and down, or just up and down. So often I use them just bending the notes up. It gives a nice musical feel to it. So there's a whole lot that can be done. I'll demonstrate a little bit more of how I route information in using the mono, my keyboard, Ableton, other sorts of things. But for now, that's a basic overview of the modular system. Hope you enjoyed.